Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode and what starts off the final season of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode here today from the Daytona 500 with Truck Series and Xfinity Series coming beforehand. So excited for this season as we make a big move in the Cup Series going to the Roush LeBron Racing Team with a lot of Brad Keselowski control going on over there now as he has retired from the Cup Series. And we're not wasting any time, we're jumping right into the racing here today. And you might be wondering, where was the offseason video? We didn't have one for this offseason. I decided to just put all of the roster changes at the beginning of the Daytona 500 so you'll see what is going on, who is going where, and what that shapes up for us here this season in the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Now on the Truck Series side of things, I didn't have any roster changes. I decided to keep it pretty laid back and chill because it's really hard to add in some lower series drivers now as we've already filled up a bunch of those in the Truck Series as well as the Xfinity Series. So we got underway though from Daytona here now as we actually had Connor Cunningham in the truck for us. He was chosen for this race. You see a special paint scheme with the new logo on the truck and whatnot. We're actually running a paint scheme in the Cup Series inspired by the new channel design. Now this one here was made by Lucas Pugh 07. He did a great job in my opinion with this paint scheme. So a big shout out to Lucas for coming up with this one. It looks tremendous now, and Lation actually made my Cup Series version of the car that you will see here in a few minutes time. But you also notice that we have made the move to Ford in the Truck Series and Xfinity Series with our Going Racing team, as we have moved to Ford in the Cup Series with that Roush LeBron Racing team. So a big leap for us now, switching from Chevy for the first time in forever. So I'm excited for this upcoming season, which of course is sadly the final season of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode before we jump over to NASCAR 21 Ignition, which comes out on October 28th. Very excited to see what we can do with that. Hopefully we can mod it, and I have a whole storyline planned if mods are a legitimate thing. But focused on what was going on here towards the end of this race with Connor Cunningham behind the wheel for us on the final lap of this race. He got up inside the top 10 here through turns 3 and 4. Not quite enough there to challenge for a race victory for the NextEra Energy 250 at Daytona, but he still put up a strong run considering starting at the back 3 wide through the tri-oval, by the way, coming to the line on the inside of the 52 of Stuart Friesen, but Connor would cross the line for a pretty strong 7th place finish as Joe Nemechek would win actually here in the Truck Series. Riley Herbst in 2nd, Tim Richmond in P3, and rounding out the top 10 was Ben Rhodes as we have John Hunter Nemechek there in 16th. You're going to see Nemechek in multiple series this season, and you'll see what I mean here very, very soon now as we come through into the Xfinity Series, and I am finally unveiling who my full-time driver is behind the wheel. You notice we're running the exact same paint scheme that we had on the Going Racing Chevrolet Camaro in the 77 car. So it is going to be Daniel Suarez full-time in our Xfinity Series ride, but not in this race. We actually had Paul Menard behind the wheel for Daytona. He decided he wanted to do one final send-off race here at Daytona, a plate race where he usually has the potential to pull something off. So it is going to be Suarez behind the wheel of our car for the rest of the season, starting after today's episode in Daytona. But Menard with one final race, and Suarez already was given a waiver to still compete for the playoffs if he can find his way in. So, and the reason we have Yellowheart back in the car is because the Chainsmokers have decided to actually still increase their strength with our Xfinity program since we had to shut down the Cup Series program where they originally were co-owning that with myself, but now they have moved down to our Xfinity program like I just mentioned. So Paul Menard in his very last Xfinity Series race here in the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode was making headway here, getting towards the front. Roman Grosjean was actually up front, coming straight through now to the final lap of this race. Grosjean up in front and Menard right behind that 98 of Kimi Räikkönen as he went down this front straightaway. Made a move to the right hand side, wasn't going to quite be enough. Grosjean won last season at Daytona in his debut, wins again back to back, just like Denny Hamlin won back to back Daytona 500s. Well, here comes Roman Grosjean going back to back, at least in the Xfinity Series, an 8th place finish for Paul Menard in his final ever NASCAR race in Daytona. Now, originally it was going to be Miami, but I said, you know what, let's give him one final send-off in Daytona, and then we'll have Daniel Suarez behind the wheel full-time for the rest of the season here in the Xfinity Series as he tries to deliver us another Xfinity Series championship and hopefully defend our Xfinity Series championship from last season. There you see Lation's beautiful Going paint scheme he made here for our brand new number 6 car for Roush LeBron Racing. It is finally here. We have moved over to this team and I was excited to get underway. Now, we have a big role in developing this team throughout the season, so you're going to see myself working on the car with upgrading it and whatnot, and unfortunately, we are really going to be slow in the first part of the season. There's no way around that. So we qualified dead last for the Daytona 500, and the top 10 was rounded out by Lewis Hamilton there in the Mercedes. On pole was Ross Chastain. As we're going to get ready to go green for the Daytona 500 and check out all the roster changes as I'm going to hand it over to Justin.
A new season is upon us as the biggest race of the year is set to get underway. Over the offseason, we've seen some major changes to the Cup Series as Gary Owen moves to Roush LeBron Racing after departing from Gordon Hendrick Motorsports. Brad Keselowski retiring opens the door for John Hunter Nemechek to jump up to Stewart-Haas Racing full-time in the 41 car. A few more notable changes are Chris Buescher jumping back up to the Cup Series in a second Red Bull car, Kaz Grala making his debut with Kaulig Racing, and Josh Berry landing the full-time ride with Trackhouse Racing. One final season of NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode is ready to go, and it's set to be the best one yet.
Alright everybody, still getting used to meeting you guys and learning your names and whatnot here at the team, but I don't see why we can't have a strong run today. I mean, even though we're a little bit down on power, Daytona, anybody can win, so let's go have a fun one. There you hear myself on the radio to the team. Once again, just a big thank you to Justin for taking the time out of his day to do that audio recording for this video. I really do appreciate it. Justin, so focusing on the Daytona 500, the final Daytona 500 of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. We kind of get a second chance because originally last season was going to be the final season, and then of course with the late release date of NASCAR 21 Ignition, this becomes the final season as we're ready to get underway. Looking still for our very first Daytona 500 victory, and we have one final chance to do just that here. Last season when we were in the Gordon Hendrick Motorsports car for the 24 team, we actually came very close to a Daytona 500 victory, but I threw it away on the final lap of that race. That was very unfortunate. So you saw all the driver changes there coming into this season. Justin Haley, he was left without a NASCAR ride in general. Kaz Grala now drives a 16 for Kaulig. Tyler Reddick goes from the 42 to our teammate with this 3-car team at Roush LeBron Racing in the 60 car. Daniel Hemrick is now in the 42 car. He has landed a ride once again. John Hunter Nemechek moves up to the 41 car, replacing Brad Keselowski, who called it a career after last season. Josh Berry, this is a big one. Josh Berry is up into the Cup Series in the 98 car, the second Trackhouse car. They have expanded to 2 cars for this final season. Chris Buescher goes from the Xfinity Series to the second Red Bull expansion car in the number 84, and then William Byron replaces us back in the 24 as that Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson collaboration Cup Series team shut down just like my team did with Going Racing at the end of last season. So you notice William Byron right up there in front of us. Razor actually decided they were going to sponsor Gordon Hendrick Motorsports for the final race, or final time I should say, here in the Daytona 500. Then you're going to actually see a normal William Byron paint scheme on that number 24 car throughout the rest of the season. So no Razor sponsorship with us this season. As you can see, we're running this special Going channel car, but other than that, Lanteon came up with some really beautiful paint schemes. We got Pepsi back on the car. That's going to be our main sponsor. We as well have UPS on the car. We have Amazon that's going to be on the car. We even have a Cool Whip car, which is a bit of a meme, and I'll actually go over that when the time comes when you see that on track. But overall, just a lot of things to be excited for in this final season of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. Let me know what your favorite maybe roster change was. Here we were on lap 5. There's the Red Bull defending champion of Christian Eckes on our right-hand side. What a heartbreaking championship race it was for us in Homestead, Miami, as we dominated the final stage and then lost it with a terribly timed caution. Now as we were also on the inside of Eckes' new teammate, of Chris Buescher there. So basically Red Bull took over the AlphaTauri car and expanded that to a second Red Bull car is basically what happened. So AlphaTauri is no longer a thing. One thing I also forgot to do, there is a 78 car still in this race that's actually named Chris Buescher. I forgot to mod that 78 car out, so that will be taken care of as soon as possible. So that's the only one little kind of hiccup and mistake in the current roster that I will fix. So there is actually 2 Chris Bueschers in the field, so we just ignore that of course and move on. And now halfway through this first and opening stage, we were up inside the top 20, and like I said, we don't have a lot of speed in this car for the first probably 4 or 5 races at all, and even then going into the halfway point of the season is probably when we're going to be able to really show some real pace in this car. So it's going to be a very tough fight for us to make the playoffs this season, as the first caution of the day would come out. But with mods, we have this Roush LeBron car, but it's actually on a custom team, basically like my Xfinity team and my Truck Series team. So you're going to be seeing myself actually training some employees, getting them to, of course, improve our car throughout the season. We're going to be upgrading departments because Roush LeBron didn't only hire me to drive, but with Brad Kozlowski being over there, he really wanted me to be an influence on developing the team as well, seeing what we have done with Gordon Hendrick Motorsports. So I'm excited to take on this challenge here in this final season of the career mode, no matter how tough it's going to be in the first probably half of the season. I would be shocked if we won a race in the first half of the season with this car, but you never know. Never say never. We could start out today with a Daytona 500 victory, so that would be really nice. I think the road courses we're going to still really be strong, as well as Talladega Super Speedway. Overall, just very excited for this final season as we were back underway only with 4 laps to go in this first and opening stage. Up the inside of the number 20 of Rajah Caruth. There you see Kyle Larson in the number 5 all the way on the outside. Last season won, I think, 4 races, and those first 4 wins all came in within the first 10 races of the season, and then he didn't win anything after that. So Larson had a really rough end to last season, but we'll see if we can step it up this season. Huge shout out to Lachan once again. He actually made all the driver ratings in this final season, just like he did last season. So basically he determined on how and where these cars and drivers are going to run throughout the year. And as you guys remember, last season McLaren and Gordon Hendrick went back and forth, both really strong. McLaren and Gordon Hendrick, at the end of the day, both lost the championship to Red Bull and Christian Eckes. Bubba Wallace in the 23, he was really strong as well. Won 3 or 4 races, Bubba did, and 2311 Racing in general had a great year with Derek Kraus, their second driver, picking up a victory in Canada as well, now at my home track. So now we got in front of Sam Mayer there in the McLaren, the only McLaren driver of the 3 that did not pick up a victory last season. But now, with 2 laps to go in the stage, we found ourselves 3 wide in the middle, and I was looking for an opportunity to get back down to the inside as soon as I could, and I was just hoping that would open up real quick, because I was hoping that we could get into the top 10. I feel like it's going to be very tough for us to get stage points as well in this first half of the season. So it's really going to be a long, hard, grueling season, I think. But on this final lap now, I kind of leave the 41 of John Hunter Nemechek out hanging there, go up the inside of him. It's been a long time since we've seen him in the Cup Series now, as Lewis Hamilton, though, leads the way out of turn 2 down this back straightaway on the last lap of stage 1 to the back of that number 4 Monster Energy Ford Mustang of Haley Deegan. We look to the inside, get to the back just about of that number 2 of Ryan Preece there for Penske as we go down into turns 3 and 4 for the final time here in stage 1. Lewis Hamilton, Chase Elliott's first and second, Kyle Busch in his final Daytona 500 as well, as he is retiring at the end of the season, looking for a strong season, is going to be about P3 as we come through down the front straightaway into the tri-oval for the final time. Hamilton wins stage 1. We cross the line there just behind the 2 of Preece and the 16 of Gralla. One moment right there is you saw I got into the back of Preece after we crossed the line after the caution was out. That's going to be an issue for the start of stage 2, as now our car, I already knew, was not going to take off at the start of stage 2, so that is of course going to be a big hit for us as Kyle, but sure enough, P3, Tyler Reddick there, the best Roush LeBron car in 4th, both of our teammates of Reddick and Christopher Bell up inside the top 10. Lewis Hamilton, though, gets the season off to a strong start, picked up his first win last season at the Charlotte Roval in NASCAR, and is hoping for very strong results this season with Mercedes as they look to make a strong playoff run if they can find themselves, of course, in the playoffs, that is, as Lewis Hamilton wins stage 1 as we get ready to go green for stage 2. Back from Daytona, getting ready for the start of the second stage, and to see nearby Daytona Beach, an absolute beautiful day so far here in Daytona. You do see some clouds coming in. That could be a bit of an issue potentially later in the day now as we're ready to go green for the start of stage 2. Now, is this not going to be a good start for us? I knew what was going to happen based off of the end of stage 1, and sure enough, my unfortunate prediction was correct. The car does not take off whatsoever, and when we're in a car that doesn't have the best engine at the start of the season, this is going to be a big hit, because now we're going to lose connection with the cars in front of us. So I decided I had to cover the 45, the 5 there of Kraus and Larson, and I just needed to make sure we kept as many cars behind myself as possible, so that way we can still have a chance to hopefully fight up to that next group of cars. So a terrible restart for us here as stage 2 is underway. Lewis Hamilton, your stage 1 winner, leads the way down the back straightaway into turn 3, and we got a drafting partner there with the 45 of Derek Kraus. So there is one opportunity that is going to open the door back up to hopefully run down this lead pack, because Kraus, he's not going to back off of my back bumper, so this is going to be a good opportunity for us here to run them back down here. Now, as for the first time this season in the Daytona 500, it is time to get amped.
Looks like rain is on the way.
Oh, that's just lovely to hear. It does look like it's starting to get a little bit more cloudy, so keep me updated. Not a whole lot of action there in the first Amped segment of the season, but what we did do during Amped was get closer and closer to the front pack of cars, and by the time we came through to the start of lap 5, we had gotten within drafting distance of Chris Buescher there in that second Red Bull car in that number 84, so we were closing in on him very quick. I think we hit 207 miles per hour, it might have been right there, going down into turns 1, but as we exit turns 2, within a car length of Buescher, I take the move to the inside, and when we're in a car that doesn't quite have that engine power that we need, it kind of becomes a game of chess when we're at Daytona. And when we were with Gordon Hendrick, we could do whatever we wanted. But now it was a game of chess. I had to kind of pull up, decide when the best time to make my move was going to be, and then I would just kind of pull out like I did there to the inside of the 19 of Harrison Burton, and then hopefully we clear him into the corner, and that's exactly what would happen. So I would jump up behind the 60 of our teammate, of Tyler Reddick. First time you're getting to see his car, but then I would jump back down to the inside of him. I would have help from the number 19 of Harrison Burton here as we came through out of turn 2 going down this back straight. It was side drafting that number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota there of Rajah Caruth now as we just continue to try and push our way forwards, and now already halfway, by the way, through this second stage now as John Hunter Nemechek in his first race with Stuart Haas Racing leads the way now as we came through to lap 9 right on the back bumper of the McLaren driver of Chase Elliott. A bunch of wins last season for Elliott, hands down the best driver of last season in my opinion, as a caution would actually come out in end stage 2 quite a few laps early here, so a bit surprising to see that. So no stage points in stage 1 for us, no stage points in stage 2 either now, as John Hunter Nemechek is your stage 2 winner. Lewis Hamilton, P1 in stage 1 and P3 in stage 2, so very strong with that Mercedes so far here today, as we're going to pit for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires. Very easy call. I did add some grill tape to the car as well, hoping that we could get a little bit more pace in the car and maybe it'll suck up a little bit better with the draft of the cars in front of us, but we'll have to wait and see what happens now as we get ready for stage 3 as John Hunter Nemechek is your stage 2 winner from Daytona. Well, that's not what you like to see at the end of stage 2. It started raining, you heard during Amped. My spotter, Jay, came over the radio, said it looks like rain might be on the way. That's exactly what would happen. We would be under a rain delay.
Looks like we're packing up for the night. Get out of the car.
10-4. That sucks. Hopefully we can keep the race going tomorrow. There you hear more team communications over the radio. You saw the cell that was moving in. This was actually after the rain had moved through, but there was lightning, and then this is in sunset now, and this storm was just coming through. So this would put an end to the night here, unfortunately, from Daytona, but thankfully, that would not be it. The next morning, the weather conditions were way better. NASCAR decided, you know what, we're actually going to postpone it to the next day, even though we had completed stage 2, and is now a much better vibe coming into the second day here for the Daytona 500. Now, beautiful conditions, some cloud cover still over the trunk, just like we saw yesterday, but there was no rain in the forecast. But with Florida weather, you never know what's going to happen now as we get ready, though, for this third and final stage, which comes now on a Monday here in Daytona, as we would be back underway from the 22nd position. Derek Kraus on our inside there for 2311 Racing. It's been an interesting Daytona 500 so far. We've had Lewis Hamilton win stage 1, we've had John Hunter Nemechek win stage 2, and now hopefully we're going to be the driver that wins this third and final stage. Only 20 laps to get anywhere here in Daytona, but 20 laps is a plenty amount of time here, so I wasn't really concerned. Our arrival of Joey Logano on my inside, he has been our rival. Maybe if you're new to the series and not sure what's going on, he's been my rival for like 4 seasons now. It has been unbelievable. It's been impossible to get rid of him, and honestly, I would love to actually end this final season with him not being a rival. I feel like that would be my greatest accomplishment of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. I don't care how many races we've won or championships. If we could have Joey Logano not be a rival by the end of the season, that would be unbelievable. Definitely a bit of a stretch. It's going to be tough to pull that off, I think. But you know what? I'm going to give it everything I got and just hope that we can maybe stay clean with him, stay away from him. And I think that for the first half of the season, he's going to be ahead of us probably every single race. So we actually might not see him very much in the first place. But now down the back straight, went lap 32, got up the inside of Kyle Busch here, or got in front of him to the inside line. I mean, now as we came through to complete these first couple of laps of this third and final stage. There you see that 78 I was talking about. That car is going to be completely gone after today. That was not even supposed to be there. That was just one little hiccup we had with the roster and the mods, and that is the one thing about modding, is some of those mistakes can happen from time to time, but thank goodness it's a very minor mistake. Up front, we had the Penske driver of Chase Briscoe in that number 12 car as we just continue to hold our own up inside the top 20, and we're finding ourselves lining up in a decent spot to maybe make something happen here in the Daytona 500 in the closing laps, but definitely been the hardest Daytona 500 of my career. You're really seeing the pace in this car not there today, so it's, like I said, a chess match from start to finish, and we were closing in a little bit further to the end now of lap 34 up inside the top 15. We got past the number 11 of Ty Gibbs. Hope to see some stronger performances out of him and Joe Gibbs Racing in general this season, as last season one of their worst in probably over a decade. Kyle Busch actually missed the playoffs, so that was very unfortunate for him. But he still actually did get one win in the playoffs towards the end of the season. That was his only win of the season. Now at the inside of Logano, bit of a side drive right there, and that would allow myself to get clear of Joey. But then he would slide in behind me beyond my back bumper now with 15 laps to go out of turn 2. And actually on my left rear quarter panel nearly turns me on the exit of the corner. We come together again down the back straightaway. We're 4 wide. Logano nearly turns me again. We're down onto the apron now as one of us is going to have to give going into turn 3. But I need to get back on the track, and around we go into turn 3 sideways. And now we're going to go up and over onto our side in Daytona, up towards the catch fence on the top of the safer barrier. The caution comes out of nowhere. The just intensity meter goes from about 0 to 100 very, very fast. Now as the caution comes out, we of course have to come into the pit lane to repair the car, put 4 tires on it as everybody else is pitting as well. But Logano decided, you know what? I'm not letting you back on the track. I need to get back on the track into turn 3. Unfortunately, with him being a rival, I didn't think it was going to end well, but I didn't want to back out at the same time. Looking back at it, 100% should have at least backed it down a little bit to make sure you got clear. And I did try to back down a little bit, but clearly not enough. So that was really unfortunate, because now we're at the very back of the grid, and what in the world just happened? So you're wondering, why did I just hook it right into the outside wall? So after that crash, my Thrustmaster TMX wheel was going all over the place with the force feedback and whatnot in the wheel, and I thought I had straightened the wheel out, but no, it was actually still pulling to the right. So I had actually corrected the wheel back far enough to the left to be in the actual center position. So now, with 11 laps to go, everything has fallen apart here in the Daytona 500 for this Roush LeBron 6 car that we are behind the wheel of, and now we have damage on the right side of the car as well, and you don't want any damage on this car when it has the pace that it has. So this was going to be detrimental throughout the rest of the race for us. Lewis Hamilton, with now 9 laps to go, coming to 8 to go, had found himself back out in front. He's been up front towards, or for the most of this Daytona 500 so far, but unfortunately you can just see that I am not able to make the moves that I could before. I was struggling so hard, just trying to side draft the hardest I could on the 10 of Matt DiBenedetto and just hope something would work out, and it was just not happening. So I was stuck in about 37th, 38th position. We had Tony Bradinger behind us in the 47. Give us some help. There was, we got some smoke in front of us, and the caution is going to come out with 8 laps to go, but it really doesn't do us favors. We want green flag racing here from this point on, but we're getting cautions, and that is not what we need. We need as much racing as possible with this car to get ourselves up throughout the field. So that just took 2-3 laps away right there. So that is going to be another huge hit for us, and I really don't even see a way we're going to get a top 25, even maybe a top 30 finish with this car and with the amount of time that we have remaining, and we're on the outside. And that was Christopher Bell that brought out the caution. Our Roush LeBron Racing teammate is now out of this race in the 17 car. What makes things a little bit worse is we also have nobody directly behind us. We have Bradinger on the inside, but that's not going to do us any help. So that was really a big hit as well, because you really want someone behind you to give you a big push, of course, especially when we get down the back straightaway, keep you safe from losing the draft. But now we don't have anybody to rely on, so we're down in 37th place, the last car running on track. Lewis Hamilton loving these cautions. It puts him in a good position down the back straightaway. I look up the inside of Daniel Hemrick in the 42, just can't make anything happen. I was doing my best to try and get him disconnected from the 29, and then we look up the inside of Custer into turn 3, and I was just hoping that we get clear, and thank goodness we do. So we now have some help from behind to try and make some moves to get as far throughout the field as we can get before this race comes to a close, but unfortunately still wasn't happening that great now, as there was smoke again in front of us on lap 48, 3 laps to go, and the caution comes out again. It's the 78 spinning through the infield. That's going to force overtime in the Daytona 500. Lewis Hamilton still leads the way. The dominant car of the day finds himself in perfect position for this restart. Chastain, Kraus, Ty Gibbs, and Tyler Reddick, your top 5. So we could potentially see a Roush LeBron Racing car still get to victory lane today. As you see a bit of a flyover here of the surrounding Daytona Beach area. What a Daytona 500 it has been, from a rain delay that postponed it to a Monday, to us going up on our side for I think the first time in our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. We've actually gone off of 4 wheels and ended up on our side. I don't think we've ever fully flipped a car in the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode, but we did, of course, go up on our side for the first time here today. Now, as if that is a sign of things to come in this season, I am a little bit scared, to be honest. But we are back underway for overtime in the Daytona 500. It has not been the final stage we were looking for. That rain delay really, I think, actually destroyed our chances, it seems like, here in Daytona now, as we're as well on the outside, so that doesn't really help us here in the Daytona 500 now, which is only 2 laps remaining in this race. Can Lewis Hamilton hold on? He won stage 1, he was 3rd in stage 2, and he's just been unbelievable all race long. A bit of a checkup in front of us on the inside from Matt Benedetto now as I try to force the 3 wide in the middle there. A bit of aggressive move got into the back of the 3 of Austin Dillon, but it does work out as we go into the corner. But our momentum just completely dies right there, and we're only 192 miles per hour through turn 3. I don't know why we were so slow, but that completely destroyed any chance we had right there of a really decent finish, at least now, as we as well have no help. Final lap underway here in the Daytona 500, probably the most unique one we've ever had in the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode, and I don't mean that in a good way, I don't think, here. As we go into turns 1 and 2 for the final time, Lewis Hamilton has a train of about 5 cars behind him on the inside, single file up front as we are trying to look to the outside of the number 42 Chip Ganassi Racing driver of Daniel Hemrick. A bit of a side draft to the back of the number 8 of Zane Smith there, as we're going to get right to his back bumper now as I try to get down in front of the 42. Doesn't quite happen now, so he's still up our inside into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. No pressure in front for Lewis Hamilton. 3 wide in the middle for us now as Carruth is coming up to our back bumper. We get down to the inside off of turn 4 down the front straightaway. Lewis Hamilton is going to come through with Mercedes to win the Daytona 500 in the final season of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. We cross the line for an unbelievably disappointing 33rd place finish after a wild 2 days of racing in the Daytona 500. Now William Byron in the 24 in last place. Gutierrez Bell as well DNF'd along with Byron. Rounding out the top 20 was the Joe Gibbs Racing driver of Harrison Burton. Now as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. 10th place, Haley Deegan, Ty Gibbs up there in the top 10, Ryan Blaney, our former teammate Elliott in the McLaren, and Lewis Hamilton wins the Daytona 500. Unbelievable. Tyler Reddick for Roush LeBron, our teammate there in 3rd place. So that was the only Roush LeBron Racing driver in the top 30, actually, as an unbelievable finish in a bad way that was for us. So that was unfortunate, but what an episode it was, though. A lot of highs, a lot of lows, and I hope you guys enjoyed every second of it, and I hope you're really looking forward to this final season of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. If you guys enjoyed, you know, of course, what to do, and I really do appreciate the continued support. It means a lot to me, and like I said, I hope you guys are excited for this final season, because I sure am, and I cannot wait to see where we're able to get with this Roush LeBron Racing team come playoff time. And hopefully by the time we get to the playoffs, we are hopefully in the playoffs, and we have a car capable of fighting for a championship. Now, after Daytona, 19 points below the cut line going into Homestead, Miami. So it's going to be a tough fight for sure, but I'm excited for Miami as well. Before we end it, just want to say thank you to the Go On Racing members of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Hayes Gaming, Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasura, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana 9302, Speed Demon 341, as well as Alice Emery. Thank you guys so much for your support as well, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.